We got a great rivalry out in Washington State. This is going to be a fantastic game in the Pac-12 to finish out the college football regular season. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SlasherU. I'm your host, Christian Rao, here with my co-host, Steve Beck, and we are going to break down Washington versus Washington State. This is one of the most fun rivalries. This is one that we wanted to talk about since the beginning of the season, and we were talking about this right before we got on the air here, Steve. Initially, you said, I think Washington State's going to do it again.
Yeah, and when you look at the numbers and you crunch analytics or whatever you want to say, you certainly don't come up with that on the equation unless you're cheating. You're not really, the equation's not coming out that way. But I just think for Washington State, this game means so much for the program going into next season. And for the recruiting and all, I just have a gut feeling that Washington State's going to do it 2 years in a row.
I mean, it's quite possible that it could happen. The spread is only a 2-point in favor of the Huskies. Washington's looking for their 10th win, and right now sitting at number 13 in the nation. They're obviously trying to find themselves into that NY6 picture. I think a win here helps them out in that case. They do have a shot, if you will, at the Pac-12 championship game. They need a loss from Oregon, and let's see if that happens. We'll see if that happens against Oregon State. But that's really what they need to make their way in there. Washington is a team that we have seen some peaks and valleys this season with their 2 losses, and that's what really has hurt them. At one point in time, we thought they were really going to have a rise to the top of the Pac-12. I mean, they've had probably some of the most brilliant quarterback play in all of college football with Penix Jr. He is still leading the nation in passing yards. Now he is at 3,800. He is probably going to hit the 4,000 yard mark, barring any crazy stuff happening before they hit their bowl game. That's incredible from this guy, a junior out of Tampa, Florida. I mean, what a great quarterback out of Penix. I'm going to lean the other way. I think the Huskies can rebound from last season. They can get this win. I think they're going to get their 10th win, and they're going to leave it up to Oregon to find themselves into the Pac-12 championship. I just like what I saw last week from this Washington team against Colorado, and I really like what I saw against them in the Oregon shootout. I mean, that was really what I liked the most. Yeah. And they've beat Oregon State. They have, I'm pretty sure they have all the tiebreakers. If the Oregon loses this game, we'll see a USC and Washington Pac-12 championship. That sounds pretty fun to me, Steve.
Oh, Caleb Williams against Penix.
Right.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, Washington's a fun, they're always fun to watch, even if they're, and there have been years where they've been stronger defensively than offensively, but they're still a fun watch. There's just something about, I think Washington State has the kind of defense that can force not necessarily mistakes, but force turnovers. There's a difference between making a mistake or making a bad read and a bad throw and forcing a turnover. I think that Washington State has an outside shot at that. So that's why I'm sort of going way out on the limb, and I can feel it cracking behind me to say that Washington State can do this 2 years in a row. I am curious about Cameron Ward because he has been a little inconsistent, and he was really, you could argue he was the hottest quarterback coming into the transfer portal, coming from FCS and Incarnate Word. I think every major program in the country was looking to bring him, in, but he just hasn't. And now he has made mistakes at critical times. And I think it's been a learning curve for him. What he was able to pull off at the FCS level, and it's a lot more wide open, certainly at the FCS level, I would say, than the FBS level as a rule. He couldn't pull off, he needed to protect the ball better when he did tuck it and run. If he has just a solid game, not an outstanding game, he's not going to have a Penix Jr. game. If he just has a solid game, and Washington State's defense can force turnovers and create situations where they have good field position, even if it's not a pick six, if it's a fumble recovery, and it sets up the offense for, for good field position. That's where I'm going with Washington State on this one. Logic is telling everybody, including me, that's not going to happen because Penix is just that good. But I'm going to go there. I'm going to take the points. And the other thing, we always talk about point spreads and sucker bets and things like that. When they break games like this down, they're seeing something that's telling them, even though really maybe it should be a touchdown spread. I mean, I think it would be fair to say Washington could be a 6.5 point favorite. I don't think that's going too far out on the limb there.
Sure.
But, but the sports books are seeing something in this game that's telling them Washington State's going to be able to keep it close, even with Penix, and the offensive explosiveness that the Huskies have. So that's another reason that I feel a little bit more comfortable saying it's going to be Washington State. Now, mind you, I'm not going to bet money of my own on that, but but the odds makers make me feel a little bit better in saying that gut instinct. It's not just angina. It actually is a gut instinct, and that Washington State can win this one.
Ward, we had talked about Ward at the beginning of the season, how he had some issues with his interceptions and his turnovers. He does have 8 on the season. However, he has not had an interception since October 15th against Oregon State, where they had that loss. They also had a loss the following week to Utah. But in their 3 wins against Stanford, Arizona State, and Arizona, their past, he has not thrown a interception. That's something to keep in mind. He has been turnover free in the last 4 games. Pretty cool by Cam Ward that we've saw it lately in this one. I still lean towards Washington. I think that's happening. You're taking Washington State. I like when we're split on these ones because I feel like we can leave it up to the committee. You're the committee. Let us know in the comments below. While you're there, hit like and subscribe. Who do you think is going to win this game? You like Penix Jr., you like Ward. What team are you rooting for in this one? Let us know in the comments. And thank you, as always, for watching SlasherU.